My wife changed after joining a new friend group. Now she sees me as the problem, just for being a man. Plus update.
Hey, welcome back to Story Glory. Here, I'll share submitted stories, Reddit posts, stories I find on the net, as well as a few of my own. If you like the story, please be sure to comment, like and subscribe. In today's video, we meet a husband who supported his wife's big career move, only to watch her slowly turn against him after falling in with a new group of coworkers. Once a loving partner, she began to treat him like the enemy simply for being a man. But what happens when outside influence drives a wedge into a marriage, and one partner starts to wake up to it? Let's get into it.
This is going to be long, but I feel like I need to get all of it out. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for 6 years. We've had a great relationship for the most part. We met in college, started dating in our late 20s, and got married after 3 years. We've never been perfect, but we've always tried to be fair with each other, talk things through, and show mutual respect. I wouldn't say either of us are traditional in terms of gender roles. She's always been ambitious and driven, and I've always tried to be emotionally available and present. We've both worked full-time jobs since the start of our marriage, and we've always split housework pretty evenly. About 4 months ago, my wife landed a new job, her dream job. Honestly, it was a higher-paying, more creative position, and I was over the moon for her. I told her how proud I was and supported her every step of the way. She seemed energized and excited, and she started making new friends at work quickly. At first, I thought that was great. She'd been feeling isolated at her old job and wanted a stronger social circle. That's where things started to shift. She fell in with a tight-knit group of women from work, most of them single, 2 recently divorced. They hang out all the time now. After-work drinks, weekend brunches, group chats going off constantly. Again, nothing inherently wrong with any of that. I've always believed people should have their own friendships and lives outside of their marriage. But the dynamic with this group is very intense. They're all hardcore feminists, and while I'm not against feminism at all, I support equality completely. It feels like the kind of feminism they preach isn't really about equality. It feels like it's about male blame and female superiority. It's not just rah-rah women rock. It's men are the reason everything is broken, and you should never trust them. I know this sounds paranoid, but over the past couple of months, I've seen my wife's attitude toward me and men in general shift in a very obvious way. It started with subtle jabs, eye rolls when I'd offer my opinion on something, sarcastic comments like, "Of course a man would say that," when I brought up a counterpoint in a conversation. Then it started to get more personal. She's begun interpreting everything I do through this lens of me being a man who's trying to control or manipulate her, even when there's no context or history for it. One night, we were watching a movie where the male lead cheated, and she turned to me and said, "You guys are all the same." I laughed, thinking she was kidding, and she just stared at me and said, "No, seriously. You all just hide it better." That moment rattled me. I asked what she meant by that, and she started going off about how men lie, how they manipulate, how they always feel entitled to women's time and bodies. She said her friends helped her realize how many things she's been blind to in our relationship. When I asked for an example, she brought up the fact that I suggested we move closer to my job last year. That was literally because she worked remotely at the time, and I was commuting 90 minutes each way. I never forced her. I brought it up once. We talked about it, and we compromised on something in the middle. But now, she sees that as controlling behavior that she didn't catch at the time. Since then, every disagreement we've had, no matter how small, seems to turn into something about gender. I asked her last week if we could make a budget together because we've been spending more than usual, including her weekly outings with this group, and she accused me of trying to financially control her. I asked her if she could help with laundry this weekend since I had to work late on Friday, and she snapped, "You expect me to do everything, like I'm your maid. That's classic man entitlement." I was floored. I do the dishes, I vacuum, I cook at least half the time. I've never expected her to serve me. The worst part is how emotionally distant she's become. We used to cuddle on the couch, hold hands, joke with each other constantly. Now it feels like she's always on edge with me. like I'm being analyzed and measured against some invisible checklist I never agreed to. I feel like I'm being slowly pushed into the role of oppressor, without ever having done anything to deserve it. I'm not perfect, but I've always treated her with love and respect. She's even started referencing things her friends say, as if they're absolute truths. Well, Maya says that when men feel threatened, they always lash out. Or, Sarah was right. When guys try to explain their side, they're just trying to reframe the narrative in their favor. It's like I can't win. If I speak up, I'm silencing her. If I stay quiet, I'm emotionally checked out. If I try to fix things, I'm controlling the outcome. If I do nothing, I'm failing to care. We had our first real blow-up last week. I told her calmly that I felt like she didn't see me as her partner anymore. I said I was hurt by the things she'd been saying, and I missed how we used to talk to each other. I told her I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Her response? Maybe you should feel that way. Maybe men should sit in their discomfort for once. That crushed me. It's like she wants me to suffer just because I'm a man. I don't even know how to respond to that. I love her, I really do. But this isn't the person I married. She's changed in a way that feels rooted in anger and distrust. And I'm scared that her new support system just feeds into that and pushes her further away from me. I don't know what to do. I'm not ready to give up on my marriage, but I don't know how to navigate this without making her feel like I'm invalidating her experience. I just want us to talk again, really talk, and remember that we're on the same team. But right now, it feels like I'm the enemy in her eyes, and it's breaking me. Has anyone been through something like this? How do I approach this in a way that's fair to both of us? Am I wrong for wanting her to separate her personal friendships from how she sees me? TLDR. My wife started a new job and made friends with a group of women who hold strong anti-male views. Ever since then, her behavior toward me has shifted dramatically. She's more critical, distant, and seems to view me as inherently problematic just because I'm a man. I love her and want to save our marriage, but I feel like I'm being cast as the villain without having done anything wrong.
Now for the update.
Hey everyone, I wanted to give an update on my original post from 3 months ago. I was honestly overwhelmed by the number of thoughtful, supportive, and even critical responses. Reading through the comments gave me a lot to think about, some of it hard to hear, but all of it necessary. So here's what's happened since then. 1. Couples counseling almost. After sitting on things for a while, I asked my wife if she'd be open to couples therapy. Her initial reaction was dismissive. She said I was trying to pathologize her empowerment. But a week later, she circled back and said she'd think about it. Eventually, she agreed conditionally. We started seeing a therapist who focuses on communication dynamics, and I'm grateful we found someone neutral and professional. 2. The friend group came up. A lot. In therapy, the topic of her friend group came up often. She admitted that spending time with them helped her find her voice, but she also began to recognize that their view of relationships is heavily shaped by past trauma. Cheating exes, manipulative partners, bitter divorces. She started to see how their hurt had become contagious, and that she may have been projecting those experiences onto me. To her credit, she acknowledged that I hadn't done anything to deserve being treated like the enemy. 3. Progress, but not perfection. Things are better, but not fixed. She still slips into us versus them language sometimes, but now she catches herself. She's even apologized a few times, which is huge. I've also learned to communicate better. I used to bottle things up to avoid conflict, but now I speak up earlier, without blowing up. We've also had some long overdue conversations about gender roles, emotional labor, and expectations in our marriage. It hasn't always been comfortable, but it's been necessary. 4. She's taking space from the group. This was her choice, not something I asked for. She's still friends with them, but she started spending more time with her sisters and a couple of old college friends who she says help her feel grounded. I think she realized she was being pulled too far in a direction that didn't reflect her core values or our marriage. 5. We're rebuilding. It still hurts thinking back to some of the things she said. And yeah, I'm still a little guarded. But we're spending more time together now. Actual quality time. Movies, hikes, board game nights. We're laughing again. And that's something I hadn't heard from her in a while. I'm not going to say problem solved. This is still a work in progress. But we're both showing up again. And right now, that feels like hope. Thanks to everyone who took the time to read, comment, or DM. Your words mattered more than you know. TLDR. We started therapy, had some hard talks, and she began to recognize how her new friend group shaped her mindset. Things are still healing, but we're rebuilding together.
Now for the top comments. User Boring Username 90 says, I'm so glad to hear you both gave therapy a real shot. It's hard to admit when outside influence changes our behavior. Your wife realizing that hurt can be contagious is huge. This sounds like genuine growth from both of you. User Fentonmean says, as a feminist woman, this is exactly why I emphasize that real feminism isn't about blaming men. It's about mutual understanding and equity. I'm glad your wife stepped back and re-evaluated what she was absorbing. Sounds like you've both done some real emotional labor here. User Dumped by Discord says, glad to hear things are improving, but I'd still be cautious. If someone can flip on you that fast and treat you like a threat just for being a man, that mindset doesn't go away overnight. Keep your boundaries sharp. So what do you think? Can a relationship survive when someone starts seeing their partner through a distorted lens? Have you ever had a friend group influence your thinking, for better or worse? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in to Story Glory, where every story leaves a mark. If you enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more tales that captivate, inspire, or just make you think. Got a story suggestion or something to share? Drop it in the comments. Until next time, keep the stories alive.